Drop what you're doing and stop Spider-Man.
Wait, me?
Coño, Miles Morales. He's entering Sector 4.
Do I, have web on my face? What's the deal?
Miles! He's right there. He's right. Turn around!
I don't see anything, boss.
This taking any damn winner? I guess it can.
And then I looked at my uncle and...
Let me guess. He died?
Hey, panelers, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And I am Rob.
And this episode, we are going to be covering Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse that just came out recently in theaters. And so far, the movie's been doing so well and outdoing, of all things, the new Transformers movie, even though Transformers just came out the week after. So it's been out for 2 weeks. Now, in comparison to what Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse grossed after 111 days, which 384 million. In 12 days, Spider-Man Across the Universe has grossed $390 million.
Wow.
396.8 million to be exact. And
There
that,
you
yeah,
go.
that 6.8 probably just got done like in the last hour.
I would say so, right? Yeah, China did that. If we're still talking to China.
Right.
But yeah, it's doing so well. The reviews have been hot on this. I wanted to cover it like we did the last time. I think, Steve, when we did Into the Spider-Verse years ago, when that came out,
Wow.
I think we did it literally within the week.
That seems correct, but I'm not gonna. I can't call it, man. I'm not. My memory's not that good.
I remember it because it was like holidays at the time.
Okay.
Because they had Spidey Bells, and I was really excited about it. It was around that time, and I was prepped to go see it, and I love that movie, and this movie was amazing, just the same. And Rob and I were talking long before we recorded. I think before we actually recorded for Fantasy Picks, Rob, you and I were talking, and you were saying how you think it could, surpass Into the Spider-Verse.
That is true.
A lot of people are saying that. Yeah, that's what's being said.
And it gave us what we expected, but I think more. So that's my theory and thought of it. But before we get even too far into this already, as we started discussing, let's hear the synopsis of the movie for those people who don't know what the movie's about, which I'm pretty sure the listeners here.
And of course, our warning should be: this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So if you haven't seen the movie, and I don't know why you would be listening if you haven't seen it, but hey, go back, go see it, and then come back. But anyway, there's your warning. We're going to be talking about all things of this movie, and here is the synopsis. After reuniting with Gwen Stacy, Brooklyn's full-time friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is catapulted across the multiverse where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. However, when the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles finds himself pitted against the other spiders. He must soon redefine what it means to be a hero so he can save the people he loves most.
Yeah,
very true.
There you go.
Very true.
I mean, there's nothing about Spot in there, but we'll talk about Spot, I'm sure.
Yeah. And Spot's not a dog, everybody. Keep that in mind. But yeah, all right. Well, let's just talk about our overall thoughts of the movie. What we initially thought about when we saw it. I'm sure we're gonna play off each other like we normally do, and have certain insights on certain things that came about within the movie itself. So, Steve, start us off. What were your initial thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. I was a little put off by the the differing styles of animation at first, but by the end of it, I really liked it. I really enjoyed all the different styles and the fact that they even had some live action kind of mixed in there with the other Sony Spider-Man movies. I thought that was super cool. My only, and I don't want to take away from anybody. My only criticism is I saw the to be continued coming. We're getting close to the end of the movie. I'm looking at my watch and I'm going, man, it's already been over 2 hours and there's no way they can wrap this all up. Are they going to do it to be continued? Are they going to go Infinity War on us and go to be continued? Come on. But when that popped up, it didn't surprise me at all that there was a to be continued there at the end. But no, I loved it and was just excited. I wanted to see it again before we podcasted, but I'm definitely going to go watch it again at some point before it leaves the theaters.
It's still going to be out there in theaters, I'm pretty sure. It seems like Sony with this particular movie, it's not going to lose. I think with any of the Spider-Man movies that have come out, the live action and the animated, they're definitely getting their money's worth, and that's why they're holding on to that IP. They're not going to let it go easily.
Yeah.
So that's why they had this whole shared thing with Marvel Disney.
Right.
So, but Rob, what were your thoughts?
Well, here's my two things. One, as I watched this movie, I kept saying to myself, why is it that Sony does not know how to actually do a Spider-Man movie? And what I mean by that is, so when you watch the other Spider-Man movies, especially Amazing Spider-Man, and then you, of course, see Morbius, and then, Venom. These are movies that, to me, they're horrible, right? And then I watched this movie, and I'm like, and I sat there awestruck on how good this movie was. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, where's the disconnect from the people who are doing this movie to the people that are doing the other Spider-Man stuff? At what point do you think somebody in Sony would say, you know what, maybe we should get those guys and get their opinion? Because I have always said, if you respect the IP and you're passionate and you know the subject matter and you're passionate about it, then this should be good. And it just seems like Sony wasn't getting that. But this movie is one of those things that I sat there and enjoyed every second of this movie. This movie just left me awestruck. And to me, possibly, and let me tell you, I love the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's one of my top 10 movies of all time. For me, this movie, possibly the best animated movie I have ever seen in my life. That's how good I think this movie is.
That's quite an endorsement there.
Yeah. As far as animation, I think it achieved a lot of levels of respect because of, like you were saying before, Steve, it kind of takes you away, but with the different versions of animation, at first it's kind of jarring. Very much how when we were kids, remember, Rob, or even Steve, I think you might remember it too, with the New Mutants. When the New Mutants came out in comics, they had like the regular traditional artwork style, and then a new artist came out with the art right around the Warlock time. When Warlock got introduced to the New Mutants, the alien that came into the group. It was kind of avant-garde, weird, jagged. And some of the animation in this movie reminded me of that, where it was the way it looked. And so, for us who are traditionalists that are so used to our, let's say, Hanna-Barbera or Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or whatever, you're used to those cartoon styles, and then they start changing it a little bit. Kind of like if you look at an anime from Japan, you get used to that.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy it. And for me, the movie, it didn't take away from it because I expected it from the last film. So my overall thought was when I first came in, I was expecting to see, this is definitely going to be a great movie. I was anticipating this. But it proved more for me, not just for the animation, which was definitely off the hook. We got something better this time around. They improved on it. They gave us more. They gave us more Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In the film. I don't know what the total count is. It's well over 100 if you think about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You had the live action integrated in there. There's some of them. Some of the animation looked to me like rotoscoping too.
Well, it depends because so at first I was actually confused when the movie started, just like you, Steve, where I was like, okay, so this animation style is a little different, and I came to find out later that they were emulating the first issue of Spider-Gwen, which was actually exactly in the same art style, the same type of, brush strokes. All those things were exactly the same way. Then they went into the Miles, universe, and then you started seeing the familiar stuff that we were familiar with. So what I thought, and then of course they had, what was it? And again, spoilers, they had Vulture in a style of more like a Da Vinci sketch, which I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah, I love how Gwen just calls that out and picks up on it right away. Like, okay, you were in some Da Vinci painting and now you're here.
Right, exactly.
Like she just lays it all out. Like she's just brilliant. The character is just brilliant in picking up on those things. So
yeah. So as you start to watch the movie, you notice all these different art styles, and a lot of them come from comic books because they were trying to So the first movie is basically a love letter to basically comic book print, because when you watch it, you see the registrations that are off. You see it just looks like a comic book, come to life. This is a comic book in different styles coming to life, which I thought was really, really cool. So they pulled that off just superb. It was just beautiful the way they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, the integration, and it's particularly like with the Spider-Punk, where they literally changed his animation from scene to scene, or sometimes within a scene, they would change his style of animation. I thought that was really clever to show just the different changing styles.
Yeah, because
there.
his style was more of a hard, I would say, color pencil sketch.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he takes off his mask, then it's a regular graphite pencil sketch. And I thought that was beautifully done. I was just like, wow. I mean, these guys went just all out. But the great thing about it was that you just saw not only that, but you saw Spider-Man from every kind of medium that was out there. So from the old cartoon, which was very stiff, to some of the ones that came out, I believe, on Disney XD, which was it was like a shorter looking Spider-Man, and it was drawn different, like all these different styles of Spider-Man that you have ever seen. I think they even did Spider-Man from what was it, the Middle
66.
East or something like that, or from Japan or whatever it came from. Yeah, they did that one there too.
Yeah, and it's also too to talk about that. The guy who played Dopinder in Deadpool voiced that Spider-Man. If you didn't catch
which one,
the one where they actually went into the Hindi,
the Indian world.
India Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah.
Which was that was also beautifully done.
That was beautifully done.
Yeah,
especially with all three of them together within it.
Yeah. I would say this, and I experienced this the last time when I saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. When I went to the Dolby Theater, the colors were bright. The contrast, of course, because the black levels were just deep and rich. And then when I went to see it in a regular theater, it did not look like that. Like the colors were a little more muted. So my recommendation for anybody out there, if you already seen it, if you get a chance, go see it again. But this time see it in I would say, Dolby Theater. And you will see all of a sudden these colors just come alive. I mean, this thing was just gorgeous the way it was just so powerful, the colors.
Yeah.
I think visually, audibly, the movie in itself is done very well. I'm forgetting the director and creators of this, but
there were three directors.
But they were the same ones that did the first one, which was Into the Spider-Verse. So they literally stuck with their guns with this. Like, not to point out James Gunn for like Marvel when they did Guardians of the Galaxy, but you stick with the same people that are that creative crew,
Right.
you're going to hit lightning in a bottle twice. Almost like with the Avengers, with the Infinity War and Endgame, and with what was it, Captain America, Winter Soldier. That particular team, those brothers, the Russo brothers, were perfect.
Right.
And they give you exactly what Marvel kind of picked that up right away. DC realized that about James Gunn after doing what he did with Guardians and that whole debacle of him having to leave.
By the way, just so you know, so even though there were 3 directors in both movies, they were all completely different.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. So in the first movie, Into the Spider-Verse, it was Bob Persichetti, something like that, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. But on this one, it was Joaquin Dos Santos, Camp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was different. I think the writing was the same, which was Phil Lord and
yes, that's what I was
I
saying.
think that's the key there is the writers being the same. And
right.
Yeah, well, that also is a tribute to the movie as well. It's like the story itself. Now, mind you, when you start watching it, you're like, oh, okay, we're taking off where Miles left off. We're going to get into where he's going with school, his family, everything else. And then we got Gwen's story.
Well, no, actually, Gwen's story was first.
That was first.
Yeah, that was part of the
yeah.
confusing part for me was, like I said, when, like Rob was saying, that different style of animation, we start with a whole totally different storyline. I'm like, wait a minute, where's Miles? Why are we not, like, why do we have this morose, depressing, Gwen Stacy?
Right.
But
a different story at that too that we did not know
because it was her
about
story
Gwen.
from her universe. It wasn't our universe's story. So I thought that was interesting. So
it was basically her narration in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also her story was quite interesting when it comes to her Peter Parker, who was her lizard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Back then, instead of Connors being the lizard, it was Peter, because he wanted to be special.
This is something that confused me a little bit throughout the movie, and maybe I wanted to wait to get into it, but I feel like I want to get into it now. The whole crux of the plot is the fact that the spider from Earth 42 was transported to Miles's universe, which is 6610. Is that right? Or something,
something like that, correct?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And so he's bitten by the 42 spider. Okay, but they never explain who was supposed to be the spider, because the whole point that the Spider-Man who lost his the Oscar Isaac's Spider-Man, I don't remember his name now, it's escaping me, but the whole point of his thing is that you were the wrong Spider-Man. You weren't supposed to be Spider-Man in this universe. Somebody else, and because you became Spider-Man in this universe, there's a universe out there that has no Spider-Man in it. But what they never explain is who was supposed to be the Spider-Man in Miles's. Where did that spider go? The 6610 spider.
I think that's going to be probably cleared in the third movie, but it may. So towards the very end of the movie, and again, spoilers for everybody out there. Mm-hmm. When Miles goes back to his home, he doesn't go back to Earth 1610, which I think is where.
Okay.
I believe that's where Miles comes from, Earth 1610.
1610, okay.
The whatever program or whatever portal that the other Spider-Man, who's played by what's his name, Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac,
yeah, right, which is Spider-Man 2049. That computer, I guess, read his DNA or read whatever.
They had some sort of creature. They had some sort of creature that they had found that could read your DNA and then send you back to your original universe.
So
because that's what they do with Gwen.
Right. It read the Earth 42 DNA as opposed to the 1610. So it sent them to Earth 42.
Right.
Where that's where he met the Miles Morales from that universe, which now became the Prowler.
Right. And that's the universe that has no Spider-Man because
because
the spider got transported.
Right. Because I guess that Spider-Man, or at least that Miles Morales, was supposed to become Spider-Man, but because he never got bitten.
Yeah, well, we don't know who was supposed to become the Spider-Man in 42. We just know that the
right,
spider.
but they made it seem like that's how that's what happened. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying is what I want them to clear up, or maybe they just will let it go. Is who was supposed to be the Spider-Man in 1610, and where did because that spider should still exist, I would assume. That spider is still out there somewhere. Unless
you're talking about the who was supposed to be the Spider-Man in Miles Morales' world,
right? In Miles'
that was the one that got killed in the first movie.
Okay, I didn't watch the first movie. That's why so that spider got killed.
Oh, you haven't watched the first movie?
I didn't rewatch it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't rewatch it. No, I've seen it.
So,
I've seen it. I just didn't rewatch it.
Yeah, in his universe, Spider-Man got killed by Kingpin.
Okay, I totally blanked that out. Okay,
yeah.
So now there's no reason to correct that. He was a new Spider-Man,
right?
Then okay, gotcha. Okay, that was just
it
really,
can be confusing for people.
And
out
I should have
there.
gone back. I should have gone back and rewatched the first one. If I did, I wouldn't have had that question. I would have understood what happened to the 1610 Spider-Man. Then okay.
I also got a little confused too with all the spider people in there too, because we got Spider-Woman, and it's Jess Drew, and it was played by Issa Rae, and she's on a motorcycle and pregnant.
Yeah,
and she's from Earth 404. I got a list now of like people who are presented as who.
Okay,
and I not to clear it up, get an idea. And yeah, you were right, Rob, about how like the spider got killed, and that was from 42, and
right,
and what designation you were right on 1610 as
yeah, because I guess Kingpin doing the Collider, somehow that spider got bought into Miles' universe, and that's how he got bit.
And and what we don't know, I'm assuming, because again, I didn't rewatch the first one. Spot is not anywhere in the first one, right? We only find out that he was present in this movie here. The
correct.
guy, yeah,
correct.
Okay.
Because so, if you recall, Miles and Peter B. Parker,
right?
They went to, I guess, Kingpin's where the Collider was at to try to get that computer right. As they were leaving, Miles takes a donut or a bagel and he flings it at somebody and it hits him over the head.
Okay.
That person he flinged that bagel to is the one who became the Spot.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And he actually referenced it in this movie too.
Right. Yeah.
Because they do a flashback of that whole thing of what happened in the into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was funny too, but he's the worst criminal in the very beginning. That Spot character.
But I will say, I mean, it was such a great character. I mean, he was voiced great. I mean, everything about him was just so great. And at first you think he's just like that tertiary character that you're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But it turns out that he's going to, play a bigger role, of course, throughout this whole thing. But it was just such a great character to have in there. It was just like, oh, let's not, they didn't bother with putting like, the Goblin or, one of the big villains there. They just put this character that, was, I don't know, lost in time, I guess, in the comic books. And it was like, sure, let's put him in there.
And it's a character from the comics that you would be like, this is a joke.
Yeah,
and exactly. They made it, and he's like, oh, I'm your nemesis. And it's like, I'm your worst nemesis or something. It's so hilarious.
Yeah.
The fact that it's like they kind of built it up, and I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
And plus the design of him across the whole movie too, because he does change a little bit in his and how they drew him and how they made him look.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out who was playing him, but
the Spot was played by I had it here in just a moment. Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a comedic actor,
right?
Yeah.
And of course, you got the heavy hitters like Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, who plays Spider-Man 2099, and you got Peter B. Parker.
Jake Johnson,
my favorite
of all. I love Jake Johnson. He's great.
the character itself, and then Gwen Stacy or Spider Gwen or Spider Woman, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
So and then of course the introduction of Peter B. Parker's kid.
Yep. That was great.
And he gives her like a web shooter too.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He's just
I
a
love
baby.
seeing that family side of him. And I wonder if we're going to have that baby in the third movie as well. If she's going to come along with him, I don't know, but that would be interesting. That was great comic relief for those moments where it did get heavy in some spots. And then you had these moments with the baby where she'd be crawling off or something. So I thought that was a great way. And Jake, I'll be honest, I did not recognize Oscar Isaac's voice. I didn't recognize Haley Steinfeld's voice, but Jake Johnson's voice is so distinctive. Like he didn't change it or do anything to make his voice different for this character, which I think is great because that's one of the pulls for some people to the movie. So
he's a great voice actor. I mean, he's just like, he brought so much presence and so much volume to that character. Mm-hmm. Just by his voice. I mean, he's like probably one of my favorite characters throughout this entire.
Yeah, for sure. He's top notch for me. I cannot wait to see the third one. We get the Nicolas Cage Spider-Man back.
Noir,
Noir Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Noir. Penny Parker, Spider-Ham. Yeah, I guess they're supposed to come back or something like that.
Yeah, well, that last shot, you could see that last shot of the movie where they were kind of, assembling their spider team. You definitely see Noir and Ham there. I don't remember who else we could see in the shadows.
So you have Peter B. Parker was it? Peter B. Parker's there. Mayday, which is his daughter. That's what she's called. And there's a Pavit. I don't know who Pavit is. I'm not sure.
Oh, is that
Hobble?
the anime one?
It could be.
The girl
and
in
it's
the
a Hobble, a Margot, a Spider-Man Noir, Penny Parker, and Spider-Ham. So at least they have a group going after.
And it's gonna be interesting because you've got Miles who's stuck in Earth 42 and being like, I couldn't wait. That was another thing that I called out really early on. I was like, oh, it's not gonna be his uncle. It's gonna be him. It's gonna be him in this universe. Like as soon as the mom was like, "Who's Spider-Man?" I was like, oh, this is the Earth that has no Spider-Man, and I was like, oh, what became of Miles in this one? And then, they kept saying, what happened to your dreads? What did you do to your hair? And so I'm really looking forward to seeing that fight, how that's going to play out, and then how they're going to get him transported back to 1610 so that he can save his parents from Spot. So.
Yeah, they definitely left this off on a cliffhanger, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's the only complaint I think that this movie has had is the cliffhanger. Even though at first this movie was called Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, or was it called Across the Spider-Verse Part 1?
Oh, was it?
They called it Part 1 at first, and then they took off the Part 1
because they're doing Beyond the Spider-Verse,
right? So. I think a lot of people forgot about the Part 1 and they were just like left with like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't surprise me. Like I said, I saw it coming there towards the end because I was just like, this movie's not going to be 3 hours. This isn't Endgame. This is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So I was pretty sure we were going to get a third. And I was really glad that they've already confirmed the date because it's already done. They could release it today if they wanted to, but they're waiting until March of 2024, I think is.
Well, no, they're still actually, as a matter of fact, from what I was reading, it might still get a little bit of a delay because of the writer's strike.
Oh, okay. So they are still working.
So there still might be some more work to be done in there. Okay. But I mean, they're trying to go for 2024. The thing is that even if they don't, I'm fine with it because this movie was supposed to be released, I think, a year or two ago. Mm-hmm. And they delayed it because they wanted to get it right. And I don't have a problem with that.
No,
I'm going to delay something to get it right. Sure.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with that.
This was one of the movies that they needed to do that with, so to get it right. The only other one that we've been dealing with and trying to figure out is The Flash. We won't know that until next week when we cover that.
Well, next week, I got tickets for that. Hopefully, from what I've been reading and from what I've been seeing in the trades, everybody's just been praising it on how great it is.
Yeah. I've got to go see it, but I tell you what, I just can't. Normally, I can separate the actor from the BS outside the world crap, but But no, it's just to see Michael Keaton back on the big screen as Batman.
That's the biggest allure from for me to go see
Yeah.
it. It's like we got Keaton as Batman, and there's supposedly other hidden gems in there that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And we don't know unless, we were at the premiere yesterday that they had in California that I saw on YouTube earlier today, which, of all things, Adam the Woo and Scott on Tape infiltrated the premiere.
Oh, yeah?
And got to see people coming in and out. So they got to meet Kevin Smith twice as he was walking in and out. Him and Jay Muse. And then you were seeing all the other actors. And apparently they said, this is a mess. So apparently to get into the theater and out of the theater.
Right
by Grauman's, right down on Hollywood Boulevard was a mess.
Wow.
But, yeah, they were standing right in there, and they were like, people were just walking right past them. People were trying to get selfies with all the actors and stuff, the celebrities that were there. But apparently, like a lot of like buzz is on that. Is that it's really good. But
there are some people saying one of the best superhero movies out there.
Huh?
Which
all right,
I don't know.
All right, guys, back to Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, let's get back
we'll
to that.
the Flash. I want to talk for a minute. I want to talk for a minute about. I think one of my favorite moments or parts of this was the plan that was not the plan. Like it kept looking like Miles had no plan at all until he gets to the end and he's pulling the stuff out of that rocket, and he's like, no, there was a plan. I got all of you out of the building. And I thought that was just brilliant when I heard that, because I was like, wow, that's brilliant. And so he's able to go back in his invisibility, and there's only one Spider-Man there, and it's the one that's the virtual reality Spider-Man. But I thought that was one of those moments that I thought was really, really cool. Was that?
Well, the good writing to me was about this whole, they're trying to correct everybody that's in there. Apparently, Spider-Man 2099, who is pretty much what I like to call a dick to people.
Oh, he's like that in the comic book too. So
I know, and he's trying to correct all these mistakes. They do reference the No Way Home incident,
correct,
and how it's like that nerd at Earth.
Yes, Doctor Strange and that little nerd.
Yeah, I thought that was
so
great.
They got to reference that, which was pretty cool. Did we get any visual? I don't remember if we got any.
The only thing that we got that might be related to that universe is actually this guy Glover playing
Donald Glover.
Yeah, yep. Donald Glover playing the Prowler, which he played the character in the Spider-Man movies, but he never played him as the Prowler. On this, we see him as the Prowler with like the gauntlets in his hand, which was actually a really cool thing. They just kind of bought him in there.
Yeah, and it's like it's not even animation. He was in the cell.
The live action, that was a cool.
The live action, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, they had a few live action stuff, but those were mostly clips taken from other movies.
Yes, but with him, it was more implemented in there perfectly, and it's a tribute to him because he was actually propositioning to be Miles a long time ago when he was on Community.
Right.
So I thought that was like great and even still, he still played Miles's uncle in, I believe it was the first Spider-Man that we got.
Correct.
With Tom Holland.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So they took that character from that universe, which of course is the Tom Holland universe, which is basically the MCU. And I guess they threw him in here as the actual Prowler this time.
Yeah.
Which it could be from that universe or it could just be a different universe, but
completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked we got Ben Reilly, which is the Scarlet Spider, which and if a lot of listeners, if you don't know it, there was a Dan Slott series of Spider-Man. I don't know if it was amazing or spectacular during the time, but it was pretty much the clone verse at that point. And Peter Parker was cloned. He apparently died and they cloned him, but this Peter Parker wasn't brought up as Peter Parker. He was brought up as Ben Reilly.
Huh. Okay.
Right.
He calls himself Ben Reilly, and he's the Scarlet Spider. And it's voiced by Andy Samberg from Saturday Night Live fame. And I forget, was it Brooklyn
Nine-Nine? Yeah.
Nine-Nine that you like, Steve?
Yeah.
So, he was in there too. I love to get all that the weird stuff that we got out of it that I enjoyed. The different versions. You got a cowboy Spider-Man with a horse that has the mask on it.
Right.
And it could spin webs. You got Spider-Cat.
Yeah.
A cat spider.
Yeah, they from what I heard, they grabbed they went into like almost every comic book out there that had a different type of Spider-Man or something, a depiction of Spider-Man, but then they
Correct.
made up a few just for the movie too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was
they
great.
definitely did, especially the therapist one.
Yeah. And the T-Rex.
Oh, the T-Rex.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they of course we got that traditional pointing segment.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody pointing at each other, and you get the weird guy with the multiple arms. And it was at that time when I guess Miles is on the loose in the Spider World, or their I forget what they called that compound that they had all the Spider-Man in. And
yeah, I thought that was great. The use of the whole canon event that they used on there for the whole what did Doctor Who call it? The fixed point in time can't be changed, but they call it a canon event. In this, what I thought was really cool, the canon event. There always had to be a canon event. But and this is where I think the third movie is gonna clarify this, because I think since Miles is not supposed to be a Spider-Man, I don't think the canon events necessarily apply to him. So I think it's gonna be where they're gonna get a loophole in the next movie. But that's my prediction.
Yeah, we just have to see how creative they're gonna get with that movie.
Yeah. Hopefully we get more Lego Spider-Man.
that was cool
phenomenal.
to see also. Yeah,
that was great. When I saw
one
that,
of the
I started
directors,
laughing.
one of the three directors, is he the Lego guy who directed Lego?
Yeah, it was actually what's his name? Lord and Miller. They both did the Spider-Man Lego. I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. I just was so happy to see that. I was like, oh wow, we actually get the I guess the video game. And then on top of that, they have stuff on Disney.
They did have the video game Spider-Man in there also, yeah, because he has a different suit.
Yeah,
from the game. I will say this. So like this movie, one of the things I loved about this movie is just the heart of the family on, like the family dynamic of Miles, how he misses his friends just like anybody else, when you, like, let's say in the summer, you go out to, summer camp and you make a whole bunch of friends and then you come back and you don't have those friends anymore. And that's what it felt like for him. Is like, I made all these really cool friends and I just missed them because he's really a kid with no friends, basically.
Yeah.
Because, of course, now he's doing the Spider-Man thing. The other thing that I really took from this, and me, of course, me being a Latino person myself, there were so many Latino references in there that are truly real New York Latin things where from the food to the way they spoke to each other and certain little things they said in Spanish that nobody will get unless you are Spanish.
Yeah.
Especially, either Puerto Rican or Dominican from the Bronx. You just don't get that. And they were all those little things I appreciated so much because there was an authenticity to it that made it a lot more, I don't know, relatable. But it was just the relationship between, the mom and the dad and I love the way Miles, the only way he could really talk to his dad was by being Spider-Man.
A Spider-Man, yeah. I thought that
right,
was...
because he couldn't talk to him as just Miles, but he could talk to him as Spider-Man. And so that relationship I thought was funny too and very interesting on how...
Yeah, that was the only jarring thing kind of for me. We go from one scene of his dad, who's a lieutenant, but he had stripes on his uniform, which didn't make any sense to me, but all down on himself and depressed about how everybody... he's doing everything wrong and he's not doing his job great. And then the very next day he gets promoted to captain. Like, I'm like, wait, it was a little jarring,
Right.
Yeah.
But it just seems like anybody who gets promoted to captain is going to get killed.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing.
The canon event. Yeah.
That was the canon event. That's the whole point. It's like, they kind of pointed out because everybody has somebody who died and it was kind of pointed out in the very beginning. That's how Spider-Gwen she had to lose Peter Parker in her world. Uncle Ben had to die for a lot of other people. It was something. And that's just kind of like Andrew Garfield's in his Spider-Man universe. He had to lose Gwen.
Right.
Because they didn't even mention Ben back then.
Again, that's nothing that kind of didn't make any sense to me, because the whole Spider-Man lore is there's multiple events in his that shape who he is. It's not just one. And that's what kind of bothered me about this is even when they're showing all the different lines corresponding, you're seeing that, okay, almost everybody has an uncle who dies. Almost all of them have a captain who dies. Like it's like there's certain canon events. It's not just one event that's gonna change it. So
it's multiple.
It's multiple.
What made Peter Parker be Spider-Man was Uncle Ben, because before that, remember that in the origin, he became Spider-Man because he just wanted to make money, and he didn't stop the person who killed Uncle Ben. From that point on, that he knew that, hey, I am responsible for this. But yes, he had multiple events that eventually shaped him to be more of who Spider-Man is. But that was the one point where he transitioned from being selfish to now being selfless. Right. My confusion was Miles. I thought Miles' canon event was when his uncle Aaron died in the alley. So why is it that he has to have another event?
That's what I'm saying. Is I think there's multiple. Like I think
multiple.
I think it was also and like Diego. Is it Diego? What's Oscar Isaac's character's name? Not Diego. Is it Miguel? Miguel. He's picking and choosing the moments where he believes is the canon event. Like he said, like this one event in that it had to be the death of the captain saving the child in the Indian universe, right, where they were in Mumbata,
right.
And he said that whole universe is now going to collapse because you stopped this one event from happening. Well, they never cut back to that universe to show us, or did they cut back to? I think they did. No, they showed his universe when his universe got imploded on, right? Because
I'm not sure how that works.
So it's a little confusing there that they weren't super clear about, but we'll see if they clear it up or if they just stick with the Miles story.
I'm sure that these guys being creative as they are, because honestly, I sat in the theater and I said, listen, the first movie across the Spider-Verse to me is nearly perfect. How are they going to top that? How are they going to top that? I'll never know. Or into the Spider-Verse, but I'll never know. And I sat there and I was like, holy crap, they did it. I can't believe that they actually topped what they did before. So these guys are very creative and passionate about this kind of project and the character that I believe that they'll do it justice on the third one. Hopefully they will. I mean, it would suck to have two amazing good movies and then the last one really sucks.
Yeah. We don't want to Return of the Jedi.
That was good.
I'm just kidding. All right. We'll discuss that at a later point.
It was an Empire, but it was good.
It was all Muppets. But to top on what you were saying, Rob, too, about Latino and how he was, there was one thing, especially it's like when he's delayed in the very beginning to get to his meeting with the principal with his parents.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with Spot during that time, and he's texting him, and it's the typical Spider-Man thing. But when he finally sits down with them, he gets like, oh, you got an A in this, you got an A in that. It's like, okay. You got to be in Spanish. Be in Spanish.
Yes. That's exactly the same look my mom would have given me. So.
Exactly. How dare you? You are Latino. You're supposed to know that.
Yeah. Well, people don't realize that this is the funny part about this, because when I see that, I'm like, yes, I can relate to that. But people really don't realize that, yes, even Spanish people could fail Spanish because you might speak the language. You might not speak the proper Spanish, like from Spain or something like that.
Yeah.
With all the proper grammar and all this stuff. You might speak more of a certain kind of ethnic group kind
like
of Spanish.
Like a slang.
So you might actually fail the class because you're like, that's not my Spanish.
Yeah.
Or if I had a couple of friends, and my friend Joey, I would go to his house. His mother would be speaking Spanglish to me.
Yes.
It would be a mix of English and Spanish. And, he's Puerto Rican, and his mother does speak English, but she really is frustrating. So she'll talk to him in Spanish. she'll yell at me in Spanglish, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I know what you're saying, Mom. Thanks."
Yeah.
It's like
No, I've actually
kept them out
seen.
late.
Yeah, I've actually seen not only Spanglish, but Spanglish with Gaelic also mixed into it.
Really?
Yes, because my ex-girlfriend from a long time ago, she was from Spain, but she was from the Gaelic area or something like that of Spain or whatever it is. And so she's like, yeah, they have like their own language. So I remember being at her mom's house, and it was like Spanish, some English, and then the Gaelic part of it. And it was just like such a mishmash of things. And I've been to other people's homes where it's Creole. So you got Spanish, English, and Creole being mixed in also. And you're like, holy crap.
I'm trying to keep up with the conversation. Could you keep it at one?
Yeah.
But I just love, though, the dynamic in that. And I just also love the idea of Miles at. We were talking about loss and everything else that it's canon. Now the conversation that he has with Gwen, and he's trying to get close to her, and then how she lost, and then and she basically spells out that the canon in it, and like anybody who gets close to somebody would die, and I think she mentioned somebody about being in love with Gwen or something.
Well, she says in most universes where Peter Parker, where Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy get together, it ends up in tragedy. I don't know.
Yes,
is how she says it. She says almost all of them end up in tragedy when Spider-Man gets together with Gwen Stacy.
But the way they were actually able to introduce that, and it's like you could see how in love Miles is with her, and then he has to pull away.
Yeah,
and you see it by the hand.
Yeah,
and how such a slight suggestion within that scene itself, and it's not even people that's doing it. It's a cartoon of all things, all animation, and I love that, and I love the whole him fantasizing about explaining to his parents who he is, that he is Spider-Man, and then you're like, oh, maybe this happens. Oh no, it doesn't happen. He's all happy about it, and you see they're all embracing, and then next thing you know, it goes back, and then of course the typical Miles' mom going, I think she actually mentioned, it's like, does she even speak Spanish? I doubt she speaks Spanish. It's like,
Gwen Stacy. Gwen. Yeah, she says Gwen. Oh. Yeah. She's referring to Gwen, seeing that there could be a romantic thing developing.
Well, that's a typical Latina mom, which is like, well, because look, even though me having a background as a Latino, I used to date outside my culture. So, and my mom was always like, but, well, wait, what do you mean she's not, Spanish? So that's definitely a very, I think, ethnic thing. Where it's like, why are you not, dating the person that, you're supposed to be dating and stuff? And I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that whole setup too, especially with the party. It's a party on a rooftop too, of all things.
Oh my God. You see that a lot.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, it's usually in Brooklyn and Queens, and yeah, they'll have that all the time. It's a city thing. Oh, I actually did that in Park Hill too, on Staten Island once. I was invited once. That was a bad idea.
Listen, it was a cartoon, and I was watching. I was getting hungry. I was like, "Oh, I could use some Spanish food right now."
I could smell it through the screen.
I could smell it through the screen. Right? It smells animated.
But overall, yeah, the movie was done very well. We got a lot out of this particular movie, and it rings over 2 hours. I believe
140 minutes, considered the longest American animated movie ever.
Yeah, I didn't stay through the credits because I knew there was no after credit scenes. So I didn't even wait. Once it said to be continued, I just was like, I'm done.
But to me, it didn't feel like a 2 hour plus movie.
Oh, no. When you're enjoying something like that, I mean, I remember when I was watching Infinity War and Endgame, which were so damn long. And you know what? You just don't feel it. Hell,
even if you watch it back to back, even like if you have Disney Plus or whatever, if you do those movies back to back and you make it like, it's like I did it one Saturday morning. I woke up extra early. Why am I up so early or something? I was like, I don't have cable or anything like that, so I'm not going to watch the news. Or I was like, what do I want to watch? So I wound up doing that, and I didn't realize. And by the time I started it at like 8:00 in the morning, by the time I was like, "Oh, it's afternoon already."
Yeah.
Both movies. It's like, oh, okay. It's kind of like those people who binge watch or binge through the Lord of the Rings series.
Mm-hmm.
No, I need a bathroom break when it comes to those.
Well, I would still go to the bathroom, obviously, but I just didn't realize the time.
Although I will say, what is it? Zack Snyder's Justice League, when I first started watching, which is 4 hours long.
Yeah.
I was so sucked into it that the 4 hours just passed by like nothing.
Oh yeah, it will. For the fact that it's a bit different, just to touch on it a little bit. If you think about that movie, there's still stuff in there from the previous movie version of it, Justice League. They keep saying it's new stuff. It's all him. Well, it's kind of like with the Donner cut of Superman 2. Because they still had to use the other guy's stuff at certain points, but they used different shots that he didn't use to fill in the gaps.
Right.
So, and Donner actually states that too. So if you get the box set or whatever it is of Superman and Blu-ray or whatever, they have the Donner cut. That'll be interesting. I'm still curious about this cut that Kevin Smith has in Batman Forever.
Really?
Yes, it's an extended cut. Who did Batman Forever? I'm forgetting what's his name.
That was Joel Schumacher. Yeah,
it's the Schumacher cut. So he's saying there's like an extra 15, 20 minutes in this movie.
That movie's horrible to begin with. The extra 15 minutes ain't going to make it any better.
I know. Well, we'll see. He's apparently going to be having it at Smodcastle Cinemas.
Look at that.
We don't get paid for that, people. So, but it's a cheap pop and plug for Kevin. So, but yeah, apparently he has it, and it's all on the internet for like every time I look at my internet, not because I look at what Kevin does, but it just showed up, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is news. But apparently it's stuff that I like. But,
yeah, well, we all do.
That's all I had. I didn't have any quotes.
No, I'm tapped out, so.
Yeah, no, I would say, I mean, this movie, a big surprise. First of all, I think it's the best movie of 2023. Hands down.
It's one of the ones I would agree.
Yeah, I
haven't gone to Transformers yet, guys, so I don't want to.
I went to Transformers, and I would say it's a good movie. Is it as good as Bumblebee? No, but it's better than the Michael Bay films.
Okay,
definitely. You get a lot of people who have actually said that the what is it, the transforming animals, what do they call them, the beast
Maximals?
The Maximals. Yeah,
is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so, because for a lot of people who are fans of it, they grew up with the Maximals. I grew up with the original Transformers.
Yeah,
not the Maximals. So the Maximals, a lot of people said, that they liked the way they depicted them, and they were done very well. I thought.
I was just making a joke. I wasn't meaning to.
No, we
go off in a Transformers.
I'm just letting you know. Okay. I think it's a good movie to check out. It's and it has a really good surprise ending. So
good.
All right, cool. All right. Well, I think we covered Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is.
We didn't get into deep down details of it, but that being said, just
to give our overall opinion and thought, we do endorse that movie. Definitely suggest you guys go see it if you haven't already, and you
see it multiple times. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
you'll get a little bit more out of it, and if you're a true Spider-Man fan and you like all the different versions, like I do, I always wanted to see Spider-Punk. I got one of those vinyl statues of Spider-Punk.
Oh, you do? That's pretty cool.
I have one. It's pretty cool. I have one of those, along my standard one that you see of him standing on top of like a church pillar,
right?
With the hand hanging down. I have like two of them. One of them I'm just going to paint black, put it as the Black Suit Spider-Man eventually. But I always wanted to see that particular Spider-Man. But also, I loved it. A little kid in me giggled with the Lego one.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. I would say Spider-Punk was one of those characters that I just never knew anything about. First time I think I got any exposure to him was through the Spider-Man video game.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, he looks like a stupid character. I will say that when I saw him in this movie, I was like, I fell in love with this character, man.
Oh, yeah. They made him great. Jamaican.
Yeah.
And I love that too.
Yeah.
It's like they don't, the fact that all the different ethnicities of these particular Spider-Man, that's what I really enjoy too, for the fact that it gives a little bit more flavor and it appeals to everybody.
By the way,
know?
you didn't give a quote. You say, you didn't have any quotes on this, but one good memorable quote was Miles when he saw Spider-Punk without the mask and he goes, "Wow, you look even cooler without the mask." It was just one of those cool things. It was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But for news, well, obviously Flash is coming up. We already spoke a little bit about that as we were talking about Spider-Man Across the Universe.
Right.
But we will be covering it when it comes out, hopefully. Try to keep these podcasts going like we used to. Get them at least once a week before Secret Invasion. And on top of that news with Secret Invasion, you get the first 3 minutes if you actually go to a website and put in a passcode. So you get to see the first 3 minutes of Secret Invasion.
Right.
And then it goes right into a trailer. And we're looking to do that. It's episodic. We're going to be doing that every episode when it comes out. Knowing Marvel and Disney, they'll probably drop 2 at the same time, which sucks. But we're only going to do 1 per week. So it gives you guys enough time to send feedback if you want, and allows us enough time to, basically absorb all the content that we're getting. Because I think this is going to be a doozy when it comes to looking at the movie and figuring out what's going on, because this is another part of that setup for Phase 5. We're in Phase 5, I think, right? As far as I recall.
I don't know. I've lost track. So
I've lost track too. It's like every time they keep saying 5 and 6 and 4, and I'm like, okay. But regardless, part of this particular phase that we're getting into when we get all the way down to Secret Wars at the very end, we got. The only other news that I had was interesting, other than Jonathan Majors, we got another character out there, an actor that got into a little bit of trouble, sexual assault allegations from the guy who played Namor. And I'm curious what that's going to happen.
Really?
But yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's out there, but we don't judge, but apparently it's out there in the world for people to talk about. I've seen it on Everything Always on YouTube and all those different guys that cover all the Marvel stuff.
Right.
They just call it news that's out. It's just allegations at this point. Nothing. There's no arrest involved. Nothing going on like that. So there we have it. We'll see what happens with that outcome. Not that I don't think they're looking to recast Namor at all. Eventually, they would have to have something with him in it, but like I said to you before, Rob, Wakanda Forever kind of was like a blur to me. Very much like the Eternals. So it feels like I mean,
it was way better than the Eternals. It's just that, well, of course, the heart of the first movie was Chadwick Boseman, and not to have him in there made it. And of course, they didn't want to recast him, so it didn't have, I think, the heart. I mean, they paid good tribute to him, I think.
Yeah.
It just, that soul of the movie was missing, but it was still a much better film than the Eternals, I think.
What it did was give a setup for a new Black Panther, which Shuri, well, spoilers everybody if you didn't see it, but Shuri became Black Panther. Then we got Ironheart in there too, the introduction of her. And then obviously
that's the one character I hated.
Yeah, well, we also we lost some things too with Disney Plus. They got, I think they're canning Echo.
Yes.
That's not coming through, so we're not getting that TV
and
show. And
Ironheart probably is not going to come out either. So
no, they'll put it in Iron Wars because that's literally what Secret Invasion, and with the Thunderbolts, they'll probably incorporate her into it at some point,
right?
With a better makeup and mock-up of her suit, and then have something else there. They're constantly changing. Right now, Marvel Disney's in flux with the stories based upon all the stuff that's been coming out because of, they were banking, like we said before, on Jonathan Majors as Kang. They could, if they redirect the narrative on who's the big bad, and then during the time of the pandemic, they were able to get back the rights for the Netflix properties and IPs.
Right.
They're eventually going to be removed too from Disney Plus because we're going to get Daredevil Reborn and Punisher.
It might stay, but the thing is, the streaming, I would say the streaming business out there is not a very lucrative business as people thought, and I think studios are finally finding out that, because you have to remember that as these things are getting streamed, whoever was involved with those shows is still getting royalties. Yes. But if it's something that, a company has in a streaming service that, hey, every time these things are getting streamed and they're up there, we're still giving royalties, but we're not making any new money out of it. Mm-hmm. They're realizing that licensing it to other streaming services is probably going to be more lucrative than just having it on their own streaming service.
Yeah, they'll probably relicense it back.
Right.
To Netflix. Watch.
Who knows? I mean, we'll have to see. I just know that Bob Iger just came in, with a hammer and said, listen, enough of all this crap that we've been doing, which I think is a great thing. The amount of Marvel content and Star Wars content released in 1 year was just way too much.
Yeah, they flooded it.
Yeah, and so his whole thing is like, we'd rather do quality than quantity, which I'm fine with. If you want to take a year or two to actually release something, but it's going to leave me talking about it and saying, wow, I can't believe how great it was, I'm all for that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually excellent that they're doing that. But, a lot of shows are getting canceled. A lot of Star Wars shows also got canceled. We'll just have to see where things go. I'm just hoping that, if they are going to do something like that, that the quality of the content is going to be a lot better and leaves us wanting more, as opposed to saying, you know what, I think I had enough.
Right.
Which I think that's where we're at kind of right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we come towards the end, actually, of the podcast, this is where we talk about where listeners can hear you, or what we could plug for other podcasts that we like and enjoy. So, Rob, where could you be found?
I could be found at Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, where I normally cover movies that were overhyped. Big budget movies that were overhyped, but they failed at the box office or critically. And what we do is we do our own fantasy casting with it. We also do some top fives also there. So we pick a genre, pick an actor, and then, we do our own top five draft coming out of that. And hopefully soon we're probably going to, I know that we mentioned that we were going to do a Star Wars section. Unfortunately, one of our hosts will not be able to come back. So we're kind of changing it up, and we might actually change it to more of doing a deep dive on music composers at least once a month. So I'm hoping that becomes a regular thing. We just actually finished doing the top 5 composers, which we had a lot of fun on that. Yep. And it was the first time that we actually included music and things like that. So we're hoping that we can actually cover that, since it was actually a very passionate podcast we did on when it came to that. So yeah.
Yeah. You have anything to share, Steve? Any cool things in the podcast world that you are liking?
Just right here on Panels to Pixels when I can get it done. And I send in short voicemails to other podcasts that we love.
Yeah.
The ones that are still running out there are on Podcastica. The WTF is From cast is out there, and I submit something to them as much as I can. And Strange Indeed is about to wrap up their coverage of Sweet Tooth. But you can hear my voice on things. Short.
Yeah.
This is where you hear my long form when I can handle it. So
yeah, it's fine. You're always here. You're always the mainstay, dude. But to continue the love for Podcastica, check out Run for Your Lives. They're over there on Podcastica, and most recently they're doing Battle Royale, the Japanese movie. So check that out. Daphne and I did that on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, which you could also hear me on. And they're covering Battle Royale. They're going to do their version of it, which is pretty cool. And it's pretty funny, though, because that was the 4th episode of Adrenaline Cinema Podcast I ever did. So, good luck to them. And actually, I look forward to sending a little bit of feedback because, I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own podcast. But, send some love to the Podcastica network. All you have to go is to, go to podcastica.com and check out all the different podcasts that they have there on their network that we all love. Yellow Jackets, WTF, I think House Podcast is still a long-standing because they have a variety of different shows and everything that goes on there. It's Showtime, folks. Lost, we have to go back, revisited, which Ben still has something in the works for after that's finished. You could hear me on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast on Pirate Car Entertainment Network, just like you could hear Rob on Fantasy Picks Movie Edition with everything else. Adrenaline Cinema Podcast will be doing Space Camp from 1986.
Wow.
Will be a round table. So our love for that. So we'll be covering that. I think myself, Rima, Ben Elmore showed interest, as well as a friend, Diana, who is on Aim for the Head podcast. So it's just a matter of trying to get everybody together to
get it all
that.
scheduled for the right day and time for everybody can get together.
So make that happen the best we can. I think I invited you too as well, Steve, too.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of trying to get everybody together at the same time so that we're not conflicting.
Yeah, exactly.
But other than that, that's our podcast. But we're going to go right into where you could actually submit your feedback. So we could be heard on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast player of choice that you have. If ratings are available there, please do so. The best one to do would be Apple Podcasts. That gets us more listeners. People look at reviews, and that's how they rate or figure out what they want to listen to because of those ratings. You just go to our website once that's completed, panelstopixelspodcast.com. Best way to get in touch with us or to actually send anything is when I actually do post something in a picture, is on Facebook. So you go to facebook.com/panelstopixels. I post the image of what we're going to be covering the following week or that next episode. You can just leave your comment in the comment section below it. We could be found on Twitter at panels2pixels. So occasionally I like to throw out a tweet when I can. And the best and easiest way is to send in your feedback. Just email us, panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels. 2 is spelled T-O, pixels, and the number 1@gmail.com. And all you have to do is just write out your text, a texted email, tell us your thoughts. If you don't feel like actually writing anything, you just want to put something out there in an email, you can record yourself and just throw it in as an attachment, and we'll play it on the podcast. We could also be found on YouTube. So obviously, I've done a couple of interviews with people, and they can be found on YouTube. 4 panels to pixels, but you could actually listen to the podcast. Some people prefer that way. I don't know. We got a lot of listeners recently through just the podcast version or the podcast playlist that I created. So people are actually listening through YouTube. All you have to do is look for Panels to Pixels podcast, subscribe, and give it a thumbs up if you like what we do. We are on Instagram, and that would be at Panels to Pixels podcast. So that's for you people out there who want to, if you want to send any feedback or interact with us in any way. So that's our show, and we will see you next week. I am Mark.
I'm Steve.
And I am Rob.
And this is Panels to Pixel Podcast. We'll see you on the next panel.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.